tuning in to Family Lifestyles. My name is Nan Montgomery. I'm the Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences here in Allen County, and I'm so excited. I have a special guest with me today. This is Nancy Doyle, and she is the Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences in Simpson County. And we are fixing to go back to school. And so I know sometimes getting back to school as a parent can cause a little bit of stress, and sometimes in your children, especially if they're just starting, there might be some anxiety, even in your teens. And so this episode, we want to talk about, getting a routine back for not only your children, but families, different types of lunches that you can pack. And this is not only for children, but also for you, and maybe some different ways that you can help talk to your child and decrease, stress, anxiety about the new school year. So, Nancy, can you tell me a little bit about, when should we start getting our kids geared back up for school?
Now is the perfect time to start that. Anywhere from a week to 2 weeks out would be perfect, because you want to do it slowly. You want to kind of do it gradual so they're not just slam right back into it. Start by setting their bedtime 15 minutes earlier. Okay. Actually, you may want to start with a bedtime.
Yes, yes.
Because summer is more relaxed. You're much more relaxed. Even our work schedules are even laxed, I feel like sometimes. Yes. So get everybody back on track. Exactly. But start setting that routine and getting them used to that.
Yes.
If your kids are normally used to going, like my grandkids, they want to stay up till 10. That's going to be a rude awakening in a few weeks when they have to start getting up early. So if you can just start 15-minute increments, start instead of 10 o'clock, start 9:45, having them in bed. Then the next night, do 9:30. Just keep bumping it up until you get to that ideal time. As well, you can start setting that alarm and having them get up in the morning. That way they'll also be ready to go to bed that night. Because if they sleep in,
then
you're defeating the purpose.
Yes, exactly. That's extra. I was reading some information about just kind of, like I said, changing your schedules and getting your child back on that. And it said also do a trial run, like the day before school starts. At whatever time you think your family needs to walk out the door, set, your alarms and everything. Have your child, brush their teeth. If they're going to pack a lunch, whatever your family's routine is, do the day before school, or maybe even 2 days before school, do that trial run so then you can be like, oh, okay, I really need to add 15 minutes on this morning schedule. So we thought that 6:30 is going to be a good time to get up. Nope, we might need to do a 6:15 wake-up call for us until we really get established a couple months into school. And that way, as a parent or a caregiver, maybe you're not as stressed, oh no, I'm going to be late to work. The first day of school is already crazy because buses and it's just crazy. The first week is just crazy.
Chaos.
But that is some great tips for you to, as a caregiver, maybe not, or a parent, not be as stressed, be like, oh, okay, so for my schedule, I know that I need to do X, Y, and Z to help you stay on track as well.
Yeah, and another thing is if you can, find out what time your child may eat their lunch or snack, and kind of start adjusting that, because if they get up late, they have that late breakfast, and then they may not want to eat at home until 1, 2 o'clock. Whereas at school, they may be having their lunch at 10:30 or 11. Try to start easing into changing your meal times as well. Another thing I can't stress enough is with the bedtimes, turn off those screens about an hour beforehand. Research has shown that your phones, your tablets, all those things, they keep the child's our minds engaged, the blue light and everything. It just, turn off those screens about an hour ahead, and that will help slowly getting them into a routine.
Yes. I definitely know that I need to start incorporating that, especially like also with your research and stuff, like with your melatonin and things like that. It kind of helps trigger that natural process of it's bedtime, it's quiet, just everything with we're starting to shut down in our bodies, and we need that sleep. And when we stay on our cell phones, our tablets, whatever that has that blue light, even the TV show before bed, once you get, like you said, it just kind of triggers, no, we're not ready for sleep mode. Like our brains just naturally think, no, we just got to keep being, ready for the day, or the day is still not over with, or the night.
Yes, there are a few things getting into that routine, like taking a warm bath, having your bedrooms cool and dark. You mentioned the blue light. Blue lights emit. They mess with your circadian rhythm, and it does not allow your brain to fully shut off. If you have to use one for your alarm, I'm guilty, but I have a do not disturb on mine, so you do not get those alerts and notifications, those dings, because those do wake you up. Even though you don't fully wake up, it disrupts your sleep.
It does.
I have a do not disturb, and I face my phone down, so those lights are not coming up, because it is so important to have good sleep. If your child is used to a TV going at night, maybe switch for a sound machine, like a white noise, some type of white noise. If they have to have that noise, even a fan, have something that can replace the noise of the TV, and then it will let them get a little better sleep.
And this is a great, since we're not at back to school yet, this is a great trial phase for you to figure out what works. So you're not the day before, or even a couple days before, oh no, we've always slept with the TV. This is it all about.
You don't need to stress them out more.
Yes, it's all about small changes, so you can introduce this, and it may even take more time. For instance, if your child is someone who watches TV, or they get on their phone and watch social, if they're a teenager and they're watching social media to funny videos, I don't know, to decompress, whatever their routine is. It's not just for children, but it is for teens.
Sure.
This is a gradual time to be we might have you may not be used to it because it's been summer, but these are some new things that we're going to instate to make sure that you perform the best at school and get the best sleep and have a great day. This is a way for you to do that.
Absolutely.
And, sometimes it might be, everybody has different rules within their family. But this might be a time for you to, we talked about as an adult, my phone is my alarm, but actually my husband uses a regular, digital, alarm clock. And I find that that's actually been very beneficial, and so now I have switched that. So that might be something for your teens and your kids. Also a learning opportunity. They may not know how to work an alarm clock because we're used to setting a time on our phone, and so teach them here's how to read your clock, but then here's also how to work your alarm clock, because phones, they're flawless, or not flawless, but they have flaws, and so that's a good way to maybe incorporate a teaching experience for your students.
Sure, if you can do that, if you can get that alarm clock, they have to set it. My 6-year-old grandson, he was all excited because he got a clock, and so he sets it, and so he gets up, and any type of electronics, I will say they do recommend that you choose a zone that is not in the bedroom to charge. So have those in the family room, in the kitchen, somewhere else, so that those are not in the bedrooms.
That totally makes sense with that. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with some more back to school tips for you and your family.
Why be at the forefront of childhood cancer research? So Faith can ride her bike in the warm night air. But we can't do it without you. Help St. Jude give children with cancer more moments.
Thank you for tuning back into Family Lifestyles. My name is Nan Montgomery. I'm the Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences here in Allen County. And today I have with me Nancy Doyle, and she's the Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences in Simpson County. And if you're just tuning in, we've been talking about back to school and getting ready, starting to change your routine, getting your kids to bed a little bit earlier. Changing, your lunch times. They're probably on different times because it's summer, and so talking about changing the feeding schedules to be able to get your kids, changed and ready for school, because they might have an early lunch or they might have a really late lunch. It just depends on their grade and their ages and things. But we also want to talk about some other things. So Nancy, what are some other tips can you give us that's going to help us get prepared for not only as parents and caregivers, but help our kids?
Talk to your child. Ask them how they're feeling about it. Of course, they're going to be excited. Most of them are. Mm-hmm. You may have some that are worried. They're, hey, social anxiety. There is,
mm-hmm.
there's, and talk to them and tell them it's okay to feel anxious, mm-hmm. but don't let it dominate. And, just reassure them and see if there's something you can do to help them to alleviate that stress.
Right.
So another thing is go to their open houses. All of them,
mm-hmm.
Most of the schools have an open house. You can go visit your teacher,
mm-hmm.
meet them, see where your classroom is, maybe see where your desk is. Let them get familiar with the hallways mm-hmm. and the people around them, so they aren't walking in just
right,
completely scared.
And this is also too I know when we get to middle school and high school, I know mom
yes.
and dad, you're not cool, but I also think, but it's also important for your teens,
yes.
Even if mom and dad, or caregivers, you're not very cool anymore, it's still really great for them to see, meet their teachers, but also see, where is their locker going to be, and even for that social time for them to see their friends, to compare classes, see if they're going to have something
sure.
with their friends and buddies, and maybe when their lunch schedule is to find out, oh yes, I have this many friends in lunch. That can also help feelings of anxiety that
sure.
maybe your teenager and your middle schoolers aren't exactly going to admit and share with you, but it's still important that they that you encourage them and you go and you take them to those open houses as well, and still be engaged with those teachers. Even though your kids are getting a little bit older and more self-sufficient, that can help transition them back into school as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt to have mom, even though you're not cool, mm-hmm. you're their safety net.
Yes.
So, you always want to, be there and back them.
Right.
So if they're going to a new school, especially if they're going to a new
mm-hmm.
school, be sure to visit it. If they're maybe going to ride the bus, mm-hmm. they have to walk to a bus stop. You mentioned earlier seeing how long something takes.
Mm-hmm.
See how long that walk actually takes.
Yes.
To find out. If you have a child going into kindergarten
mm-hmm.
or a new school, there's lots of cute books out there
right.
that talk about first day of kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
Start reading it to them, and then it'll kind of ease their mind, because guess what? They're not the only one new in that, especially kindergarten. They're not the only ones that are going in there, and you might want to just reassure them of that. Look, mm-hmm. nobody else has been in here either.
Well, it also helps, at least it helped mine. I know it's been a little bit of time since my little girl was in kindergarten, but I know reading those books kind of, even though they helped, I had some anxiety because
sure.
my baby. And it can also help, even answer some questions that you have as parents, and maybe you didn't even realize you were having some thoughts and feelings because you're still 2 weeks out of school, but it's different when that day gets here of actual kindergarten starting, because then it kind of just,
sure.
it's here, and it's
is.
Real that they are in kindergarten.
So another thing you want to do is go ahead and get, all the school sales that are going on, mm-hmm. but get the school supplies mm-hmm. for them. I know in Simpson County that they provide like the basic mm-hmm. school or the initial school supplies, but it doesn't hurt to go ahead and stock up and get a few extras, because inevitably they're going to lose their crayons.
Yes.
They're going to lose their pencils and erasers and paper. So you may want to go ahead and stock it up, mm-hmm. and then that way they also might feel that, hey, this is mine, mm-hmm. and they have that. But thrift stores mm-hmm. are great for clothes shoes,
backpacks,
so, yeah.
all of it. Well, Nancy, you speaking of that, you had talked before the show. We were talking a little bit about getting our kids and things prepared, and you said something about making like family checklists, and having items in the house where you can find it. Explain a little bit more about that.
Okay, well, I am better with a list, and it also might help your child to have a list. Okay, when my son was in school, he was the absent-minded professor. that literally was one of his nicknames in elementary school. But he had to have a checklist. Okay, have you brushed your teeth? Have you combed your hair? You know, check what day of the week it is, because gym day, they may have to have tennis shoes because they can't wear sandals or Crocs or anything like that. So they have to have those. So finding that checklist and then finding a place in the house that they can put that. It's always better to do it maybe the night before.
Definitely.
And have a place where their backpack goes, their shoes, get their clothes laid out. Go ahead and have them pick out their clothes the night before. So there's that much less stress in the mornings.
Yes, I saw there's also, so my little girl, she likes the way her room is and things like that. And we found something that helped her want to pick out her clothes the night before, because she was very insistent on, no, Mom, I have it, I'll do it in the morning. That does not work in our household, picking out our clothes in the morning. It just doesn't work for our family. And so we got her this really cute thing that said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And she thinks it's really cute. And so that makes her excited for those nighttime tasks. Okay, I have a pair of socks in there. I have my clothes. I've looked at my list, so I know that today I don't need to wear my sandals, because once again, it is PE, or even in music class. Oh, did I check my bag? They have these little instruments that the kids have to bring. I can't think what they are, but yes, the recorder. There we go. I was like, is the recorder in my bag, or is it laying somewhere in my room because it's music class and I don't have it? And so those checklists are amazing and can help. They also help me when I can go in a room and be like, oh, yep, that is that day. I need to make sure that you have that. And so not only does it help you as a parent, but it also helps your child with some of those. And even starting in kindergarten, think about the different development and just preparing them for real world, even if it's starting with a small task with them, kindergartners might need a little bit of help, but maybe putting a little wherever in their bathroom. Did you brush your teeth? And as simple as that. They may not need the whole lengthy thing because they're still little, but some of your older ones, give them a lengthier list.
Sure. They can even do a check off or a smiley face. You do it on a calendar, however you want to do it. So there's lots of ways, little incentives, and sometimes just a good job or, a hug. I'm proud of you. Hey, you did it. You did this without me asking you to. Awesome.
Yes, and I love that you said, good job, I'm proud of you, you did it, because when you could start off with a positive attitude in the morning, that makes not only your day much smoother, but also the impact that it has on your child, especially those of you that are, having teens. That can be a little bit harder, but even though they may not admit it, giving your teen that positive reinforcement, thanks buddy for, getting on time. I appreciate it. That they may not act like it, but that can make a world of difference in their school day. And then also for you, I know it's much better to start on that positive foot than, kind of on my drive to work thinking, oh no, I got onto my daughter this morning and then going through my list of, oh no. And so when you can start your day positive with both your life and your child's life, it makes a world of difference. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be back and we're going to talk about different types of lunches and things that we can prepare to make for the school year, but then also for us as parents as well.
Another teenager, victim to fake pills. Did you know that fake prescription pills may contain fentanyl? Before buying pills from social media, think again. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org and go for real.
Thank you for tuning back into Family Lifestyles. I'm Nan Montgomery, the Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences here in Allen County. And today I have Nancy Doyle with me. She's the Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences in Simpson County. And so we've just been talking about getting ready for back to school. And I have to say, I see all this food, and this is one of my favorite things, is being able to eat, but today we want to talk a little bit about maybe you have a picky eater, and so maybe there's something in the lunch menu that your child doesn't like, and so you need to pack a lunch, or even as parents, we may not always do well with us getting a lunch. So Nancy,
Sure.
tell me about, we have this wonderful variety of foods. So tell me a little bit about packing, lunches.
Well, for one thing, I think most of our school districts here in our area provide the free and reduced,
Yes.
or the free breakfast and lunches, and which is wonderful. That they provide that. However, if you have a picky eater, or my son, there were certain days he wanted to eat at school, and then there were days he did not, and he would not. So the poor child packed his lunch every day, even in middle school when it was not cool to pack his lunch. He still took it. So first off, let's look at our drinks.
Okay.
Obviously, water is going to be your number one choice. But I will tell you, and apparently they took these to 4-H camp and they didn't leak. So, but you do want to make sure they don't leak.
Okay.
But water is our preferred choice. Then, otherwise, let's do a juice. There's pineapple, apple juice, whatever kind of juice. Capri Sun is not going to be quite as good, or your drink mixes.
Yes, a little bit higher in sugar. Or as far as your nutritional content, I mean, these both have sugar, but there's a difference between natural sugar and your added sugars.
Right. I do want to caution you, stay away from caffeine and from your sports drinks. Yes. The kids all want them. They see adults with them. They see athletes with them. They're like, oh, I want a Gatorade or whatever. I want a sports drink. And they're not good for them.
Right.
At their young age, they really don't need them.
Yes.
Do you know how much caffeine anyone under 12 should have?
I don't know. What is it?
0. So when you see that that 6-year-old with a Coke or with a fountain drink or the sweet tea, unless those are decaf, they really don't need it. So try to stay away from those. Steer them more toward water, flavored water, whatever. As far as the lunch, though, really you want to focus on getting a balance.
Okay.
Proteins. Try to make sure they get a protein.
I love these.
Yeah, so I don't know how many small kids will like them, but your teens and things like that, they like them. Just throw one of these in there. You can do a boiled egg. You can do tuna pouches. There's also chicken pouches. Yogurt has protein. Cheese sticks. Peanut butter or nut butter.
Yes.
You could do sunflower butter, whatever. You can do those. You could put those in a, obviously you don't want to send a whole jar of peanut butter. And those little packets get expensive.
They do.
Just put a couple of spoonfuls in here. But you want to make sure that they get a protein. Hard-boiled egg, even cottage cheese, yogurt.
You were showing me, I think was it beef jerky at one point?
I don't know if I got it over here. Yes.
I'm calling it a beef jerky stick. I think you were talking about maybe the nitrates or something in it.
It's a meat stick. I know that some people are concerned about the nitrates and nitrites in lunch meat. So there are some that are cured without those. So, you might have to look around a little bit, but my grandkids love them. So if there's a way you can get that, and you just want to make sure they get a decent amount of protein, because protein is what's going to carry them through.
Right.
Then we have carbohydrates, and
you can get your carbs from your pretzels and other foods,
crackers, whatever. If you are sending a little one to school, help the school staff out. Teach them to pinch on either side of the top and then pull.
Right. Also the juice box, so if you were going to put some type of juice box, these can be really challenging. I mean, as an adult, sometimes I'm like, come in here. But help them with the straws. This is how we open a straw. This is how we put a straw in. Doesn't mean they won't need any help.
Sure.
But when you think about a whole kindergarten or preschool class going back and they have 25 kids and none of them can open crackers or put a straw in, one, it cuts down on their lunchtime and just
Sure.
different things, but it's going to help your kid be able to actually eat their lunch without having to wait on the teacher or whatever
Sure.
until they develop those skills. So those are some things before school that you can start that you may not have thought about to help with your children get ready for lunchtime.
We have all sorts of, I didn't have a big variety of vegetables, but I do have carrots and
yes.
celery. You know, you can do green and red pepper sticks. Some kids like them with hummus. You could put some hummus in a little jar, a little container like this.
Yes.
Snap peas, sliced cucumber. You know, there's all kinds of things. Your child might like the celery and put peanut butter and raisins on it. Ants on a log.
right.
You know, and you can do those in like your bento box.
Yes. This actually bento box. I forgot to bring it, but it has an ice pack. So we have some ice packs here. These don't necessarily fit in here, but there's one that's specially made for this, so you can worry about as far as food safety. You know, you don't just want to put. These are some blueberries. My little girl loves blueberries, and even the egg. You don't just want to throw that in their lunchbox and send it on. It would need their ice pack, multiple ice packs, keep that cold. We want to think about keeping your food safe too, because if they have an early lunch, it's a little bit okay. But if they're starting to get into 5th, 6th grade, or even those 7th graders that are packing their lunch and they have a lot later lunches in the
Sure.
school day, and so if you pack this at 6:30 and they're not eating till 12:30, that's quite a bit of time, and you need to make sure that you're keeping your food safe.
You know, you could do that one and even put one on top.
Yes.
If you put it in a lunch bag, then you're just adding to it. So, yes, one is good, but if you have a couple, it might be a little better.
Don't
for
forget too their utensils. You know, that's something that sometimes kids were like, well, I didn't eat my lunch because I didn't have a utensil, and they
Right.
don't think that they can get up and go to the cafeteria and get utensils. Also, even though our schools do provide free and reduced lunch, a lot of them do, you can still put money on their lunch account. I know at my daughter's school specifically, you could go up if she wanted to buy milk, or maybe she forgot her juice or bottled water, or now that they have certain dietary guidelines the schools have to go for, maybe there's a piece of fruit she wants to buy. So you could put money in there with your kids. You could put it on their account. And so also that is also a way that you could pack your lunch, but also there might be something that you need to supplement that that the school has for, that's something that we do, or I do with my daughter, is I'm like, you need to get your milk serving, and so I'm worried about her milk staying cold because she has a later lunch, and so I make sure she has money in her account, and she'll go and she knows if she packs her lunch that she's supposed to get a milk. And then sometimes I don't always have the vegetables that are kind of a rule for her is, okay, you're packing your lunch and we need a balanced meal, so I want you to get some carrot sticks or whatever they have, and I want you to make sure you get your milk so that we're well balanced. You were also talking about sometimes for the littles, we just throw a few things together, but you need to have a variety, I believe.
A variety, yes. So I have worked with a lot of our kindergarten teachers in Simpson County, and they're like, oh, can you please teach them how to send something a package of crackers and a bag of chips. Mm-hmm. That's not going to be a balanced meal. That's why we say you need a protein, you need vegetables, you need fruit, and then you can. There's dehydrated fruit. Mm-hmm. That's a way of getting your fruits
in there.
Sure. If you're like, my kid's not going to eat an orange like this, take it, slice it, put it in, make it an orange round, and then all they have to do is peel it apart. They like that. Okay. Your apples. If you want to cut those ahead, really any fruit, if you want to cut them ahead, you can put them in, just let them soak in lemon juice for a couple of minutes, or there's a citric acid that you can put on them, where, yes, the kids, if you send an apple sliced and you don't prep it, it's probably going to turn brown. And the kids are going to look at it and go, no.
So if you have any questions, feel free to call your local extension office. We have a lot of great meal planning tips and to help you get ready for this school year. And we'll see you next time on Family Lifestyles.